All right. So, everybody, we are joined today by a very, very special guest, Mr. Todd Tucker. How are you doing?
Very good. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm so excited to talk to you because people were sending me videos and we were kind of talking about that. They were sending me your videos on TikTok about your experience working on Charmed and talking about all the demons that you got a chance to actually play and the ones that you got a chance to help create. And my mind was blown with how, like, the wide range that you have with all the characters that you were able to help create.
Yeah, Charmed was by far one of my favorite shows to work on. There was a producer on the show called named John Perret, and they had me come on the season that Rose McGowan started. The exact same thing. I think it was season
Oh, wait.
5, if I'm correct.
Uh,
And I had just worked with Rose on a movie called Monkey Bone, where I made her into a character called Miss Kitty. And we kind of bonded on that show and became friends. And it was super cool because I didn't know she was going to be on Charmed. And I showed up my very first day, and I looked over, and she came walking up, and she goes, "Oh my God!" And all the producers were there, and she goes, "Did you guys hire Todd for this show?" And they go, "Yeah." And they're like, she's like, "You're the luckiest group in the world, this guy." And she was just totally building me up, and I was just like, "Wow, what a great day!" I mean, that's super cool to have everybody, just be glad that I was there.
right, right. And you had a chance to come in and already know somebody, so you already have that rapport built. You don't just have to come in, kind of like having to get used to a whole new group of people.
It was, it was her first day of filming there too. So I mean, we were both the new kids on the block for the show,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it was super cool, and all the actresses were really cool to me. I was kind of in my own little bubble, and they didn't really know what to think of me because when I first started on the show, I was just the effects guy. But then uh, they started wanting these really big, elaborate things, and I was like, guys, unfortunately, you don't have the money and I don't have the time to make it. But let me give you an option, which is if I play a lot of these characters, I don't have to do head cast, teeth cast. I don't have to do any of that stuff with actors. And that cuts my budget much lower and faster. And I can pull this off. And they're like, well, let's see how you do. So I did my first character, and they were like, oh, okay, done, you're in.
Yeah.
So then I would go to the script readings where everybody would be around the table at the big building, and it was the big executive thing with the actors and everything. And it kind of became a running joke that they're like, "Oh, a tree leans forward. Is that Todd?" And I was like, "No, I don't think so. It's a real tree, not me." Like, so it kind of became a joke. But everybody was totally cool because the creatures look really cool, and I was able to shift it around so you couldn't really tell that I was playing each one necessarily. So everybody was cool, and it was great. It was a really fun show. I was on it for 4 seasons, and I just didn't want it to end. It was great.
Yeah, yeah. Because I was looking at the list of the demons that you played, and for people who watch it, they're gonna know, who they are. But I mean, the Gremlins, the Creeper, like those kind of demons, and they're so drastically different from each other.
Right, right.
And so, when you're coming up with those creatures, did they like tell you what they wanted them to look like, or was it your vision and you were just sharing it with them?
Um, I would get a script, and it would say, a gremlin character for that episode.
Mhm.
And, you know, um, and we talked about it, and there I was like, look, what we'll do is we decided that I was going to do a full creature head to toe, uh, costume, makeup, all that kind of stuff. And then we were going to shoot me against green screen and then shrink me down, and then double me up and have me play both gremlins, so that we just switched out the lenses and the wardrobe. So that became the game plan. So then at that point, I knew that it was going to be a full body suit that I was going to wear. So then I sat down with a couple of my designers, and we decided what it was going to be. And we did a couple different designs, and presented it to the producers of the show.
Mhm.
And they decided which one they liked. And then I built that one on my body form and my head cast, and sculpted it. And with my team of people, I had everything's a team of people. And the turnaround time is really fast. I mean, I have to have this stuff within a couple of weeks, so it's pretty
Mhm.
fast. It's not like a movie schedule.
Yeah.
But they were pretty open. I got to, we got to design all the characters, and I didn't have to do a lot of designs. I didn't have to present them with a lot. If I knew there was one that was really good, I would put it in front of them, and then I would basically, they would just decide if that's what they wanted or not.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
usually they wanted it, which was good, so I could just start moving and making it.
you can just go ahead. Because
Yeah.
I saw the one where you were talking about the creeper demon, and you had like the tube in a little opening, and it was wrapped around.
Yeah, when we were talking about it, when I read it, because they were specific about that one, they said it was a face with nothing but eyes, nothing, like no features, no nothing, just a faceless eye with sinking, creepy looking eyes. And I was like, well, I definitely can't put somebody in this because it's not going to be safe.
Right.
And at that point, I was like, okay, so guys, here's how I'm going to have to do it, because if you want it to look the way you want it to look, it has to be something that's going to cover me, and I'm not going to be able to breathe very well. So I was like, in the script, all I have to do is sit there and look around and not really do much. So it's not like I have to walk a lot. So I explained to them that I had to keep my heart rate down so that the little tiny tube that I was breathing through would be enough.
Yeah.
And if I started breathing too heavily, I wouldn't have gotten air. And it was tough to get it off. So, and I didn't want to ruin it and screw up the take or anything like that. So it was just, it was tricky. It was a little tricky, but luckily I didn't have to do a lot. So it was mainly about just staying calm,
Yeah,
and not panicking,
right. Because I
and
can
looking
imagine
menacing at the same time.
exactly. You still have to have that presence, and you still have to like be
Stay in
seen.
character.
And I think you did a great job at that too, because even the still, when I was looking at it, I was like, yeah, it's pretty scary. And I could just like imagine sitting there having to just be as stoic as humanly possible.
Well, it was cool because they also had me, if it was a character that I was doing a makeup on someone else and it wasn't me in makeup, they would have me work sometimes with that actor and come up with body language and certain things that just helped bring that to life and give it a little bit more stylistic vibe or something. So I would work with some of these people, and we would come up with walks and certain body language so that they just, I'm also a director, so it's easy for me to work with actors and kind of help get a performance out of them. So I just did the same thing, with some of these actors, and just helped them.
Yeah. That's wow. You definitely wear a lot of hats. My God. Because you had a band before you started in the special effects world, right?
So this is actually a pretty funny story. Yeah, before I moved to Los Angeles, I started learning how to do special effects when I lived up in Northern California. But I was also I started playing drums when I was 5 years old. So I've been in bands since I was 11. I was actually a professional drummer at 11, and I would show up at clubs and basically get walked in by an adult, play drums, and get walked out during breaks by an adult and go back. And I made like $300-400 a night as a 12-year-old. So it was pretty cool. But then I was always in bands. And then towards the late 80s, I was a lead singer. I came out from behind the drums and became a lead singer for a band. We were signed by a label, and we were opening for a band called The Tubes and a couple other bands. And we were doing pretty well. And we were just about to go on tour, potentially with Whitesnake. And then everything changed overnight. And I literally went from signing autographs in Guitar Center to being giggled at and pointed at because I was a big-haired rocker. It got ugly quick, and I had been practicing effects and learning and was ready to go do that as soon as I was able to. And so right around 1990, I gave up music and moved to Los Angeles, started working in the industry, kept my long hair for a few years. And it was funny because on Charmed, I had my long hair, and they wanted me to create a super villain called the Aggressor. And their comment to me, and I said, okay, well, guess what, guys? And they're like, yeah, no, we get it. It's going to be you again. And they're like, but there's one thing. And I go, what's that? And they're like, you have to cut your hair. And I go, oh, I do? And they're like, yeah, the character's name isn't Captain 80s. And I laughed, and I'm like, oh, shit. Okay, well, that's fine. If I'm going to cut it for a role, that's worth it, whatever. And I wasn't doing music anymore, so I was like, screw it. So they cut it
Yeah.
all short and got it all spiky, and it was weird just losing, cutting my hair. And then I just recently, a couple years ago, I wrote, directed, and played a character in my movie called Rock Bottom, which is about an '80s hair band getting together years later and needing a new lead singer. My new lead singer was Jake Bon Jovi, so he came in and we did this whole thing, and I got to do a whole album and bring my instruments out again and play with a bunch of rock stars, and it was a lot of fun. This was just like a year ago, and actually the movie's on Prime Video and a bunch of things. And then at that point, I saw pictures of me on set because I had short hair, but I was wearing a wig when I was playing the drummer in the movie.
Yeah.
And literally, when I saw pictures of me with my short hair, I looked like my own dad. Like literally, pictures of me with long hair and short hair. I was like, here's the dad, here's the son. I'm like, screw that. So for the last couple of years, I just grew my hair out again. I'm like, screw it. I don't have to play the aggressor anytime soon. So
Right.
I'm good. But it was funny when they called me Captain 80s. I was like, yeah, I'm going to remember that one for a long freaking time.
You could have put that on a t-shirt and been like,
oh my
Captain
God. Well,
80s.
you know what? My movie Rock Bottom, I'd originally called it Captain 80s. Because Rock Bottom was a better name, but I was gonna call it that, and then I actually had somebody else like a week or two before that call me Captain 80s, and I'm like, okay, because
this is
because I was working out and I had the big hair, and I guess I just looked like a goof. So, but it's fun.
That is so funny. Because it's like it was meant to be that they were saying it, but at the same time, I can see where you were like, okay, all right, this is telling me it's time to do a little something.
It was time, and I was doing more acting, and as with hair like this, you can only play so many parts, and I'm like, yeah, okay, it's time.
Yeah. And I'm very interested to hear more about your movie, because I would love to give that a watch just to see what it's about, because I like those kind of movies. And those kind of like movies about people coming back together or coming together, especially after an extended period of time. So that's kind of right up my alley.
Yeah.
But also though, before we kind of segue off into that, it sounds like with your career, you've really had the opportunity to kind of like make yourself over a couple of times, not like with makeup, but just to go from like one really big career where you're in front of this, in front of the microphone and you're singing and you're in the band, and then the next minute you're behind the camera and now you're directing like that. Did you always kind of want to get into directing, or are you just kind of, were you feeling it out as you?
I literally, when I moved here, when my band and everything collapsed because of Nirvana, I had a major game plan, and the game plan was I had already practiced in new special effects enough to get a job. So my goal was to get into Hollywood, start doing special effects, start playing characters and puppeteering, because I was really good at puppeteering, and I was an actor and could play characters and put up with wearing suits and makeup and all that. And then eventually get to the point where I was writing and directing my own stuff. So I had a game plan, and then got into Hollywood, started doing makeup effects, then opened the door and got into SAG and started playing creatures, characters, and puppeteering. And then eventually, it took me about 15 years of being here, but then I got in the DGA, and what I would do is movies would call us and say, hey, we need all these effects. And I would say, well, here's the deal. How about if we do the effects for you, hire me as your second unit director, and then I will shoot the effects that we make, because I really know how to shoot this stuff. And if you've never shot puppets or makeups, then I'm going to make you look really good, and you're going to get all the credit. Don't care, just want the job.
Right.
So I started doing that a lot, and second unit directing the stuff that we made, which was really cool. And then finally, I wrote my first movie, which was called Monster Mutt. It's a kids movie, kind of like Harry and the Hendersons, very Jim Henson-y. I made the dog look very Muppety looking. It was for kids.
Yeah.
And it got worldwide distribution, and it picked up some awards and did okay. And but I was always bouncing back, because I owned an effects company for about 20 years and was the head of the company. So I would put a crew together and be able to walk away if I wanted to go direct a movie or do something outside, and then my crew could continue doing the effects end of it while I was doing whatever else. So I kind of set it up so I could bounce around and do all the different things I wanted to do.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that is very impressive. Congratulations for all of that, first off, because
well, it can be done. So for all your viewers, don't and believe me, I had people the entire way going, "Nah, you're not going to do this, dude. You're not pulling this off." And I'm like, "Well, step aside, buddy."
right.
So just know you can, if you motivate and you think it through and you have a plan and really strategically put a plan together, you can get pretty much anything done.
And I like how you were setting up blocks for yourself instead of just, relying on, oh, this will be here. I'll still be able to work. I'll still be able to whatnot. You had your company going, and they gave you that freedom, like you said, to be able to go and pursue other things.
Yeah, I mean, also too, and especially in Hollywood, in general, I guess, but in Hollywood for sure, you have to be able to evolve. Like when I got into makeup effects, one of the first movies we went and saw as a shop together was Jurassic Park, and we were like, "Oh crap!" I was like, "Hey man, I just got here. What the hell?" And then all of a sudden, digital came in, and all of a sudden, I was working on the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey, and that was the very first movie that we made a puppet version of Milo the dog, and they're like, "Nah, we don't need it. It's all digital." And I'm like, "Oh," so that was like the first thing that we really lost to digital.
Yeah.
But then years later, I worked on The Passion of the Christ with Mel Gibson. And I had been working with him on another movie, and we talked about it. And ultimately, we ended up doing not only all the makeup effects, but we talked him into letting us do all the digital effects, and opened up a digital company across the street from our practical company, and worked directly with Mel to create over 158 visual effects shots that were combinations of models and people against blue screen and all this different stuff. And I got to learn how to do all that stuff as a director on other people's movies.
Right.
So for me as a filmmaker, I was lucky enough to be involved in all these different things to be able to absorb it all for my own films and projects.
Yeah. And on such a big movie like that too. That's not like that was huge.
Yeah, it was. It's funny because I actually played 3 characters in the movie. Also, in the Passion of the Christ, there's a quick scene. I have a TikTok that's coming out on it. Also, it shows the picture of what it was. But Mel, we were putting together a character that was a demon or something that was a vision that Judas would see in a rock behind him as he's freaking out and panicking right after he betrayed Jesus. We did this one makeup. Mel wanted it to first look like this diseased version of this guy that was like, reaching out. And we did a makeup test. And one of the guys, after we showed him the makeup test, one of the guys goes, "Hey, Mel's in the office. He wants to talk to you. He's not happy." And I'm like, "Oh crap," because Mel is a badass, man. That guy is. Yeah. He's an intimidating dude. But he's one of the best filmmakers I've ever worked with. But he pulled me in and he goes, "Hey, I'm just not happy with this last thing." And I'm like, "Okay, what do you want it to be?" And then we had all these designs on the wall, and he handed me this design of an eye glowing in a shadow, and you really couldn't see anything. And he goes, "Go make this." And I'm like, and he goes, "And I want to see something before I leave today." I'm like, "Oh
my God."
So I ran to my office and just started sculpting really quick on one of my face casts. And a couple hours later, I blocked out something and I showed it to him. And he goes, "Okay, that's it. Let's shoot it in 3 days." And I'm like, "Oh." So we put it together. It was a makeup on me. And there's a scene in the movie where Judas turns and he sees this thing come out of the rock at him, and he ducks and runs away scared. Lasts like that long. It's super fast. But I also put on a Roman suit and did a bunch of stuff. And they digitally put somebody else's head on me, and we did all kinds of really cool stuff. So yeah, that was a great learning experience for sure. As a filmmaker, as an effects guy, as a actor, all that stuff, I got to bounce around like crazy on that one.
Yeah, I mean, you had your hands in literally every part of that movie, seems like.
I got to do a lot. It was very cool. some of the opportunities I've been given, and afterwards I'm like, wow, that was super cool. I didn't see that coming.
Do you know sometimes, like when you're doing something, how big it's gonna be? Do you kind of get that feeling like this is gonna be?
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of tell when you're like, I'll give you. So years ago, I was part of the creative team that made the makeup for Mrs. Doubtfire.
Okay.
And when Robin came in and we did that makeup test, and we, you know, and he was in that makeup, and we saw, you knew that was going to be something special.
Yeah.
And when we were prepping to do the mask with Jim Carrey, I did a head cast on him in Florida, and we brought mask teeth that we made, and we put the mask teeth in, and he literally transformed into the mask right in front of us in our hotel room and started bouncing around the room, and it was the coolest thing ever. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be huge. And the funny thing is, like an idiot, I go walking in and I introduce myself to him. And I said, hey, what you working on here in Florida? And he goes, oh, I'm working on this movie called Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. And I went, oh, well, the mask will be good. An idiot. It's one of the funniest movies in the history of movies. And I'm sitting there going, oh, don't worry.
Like, yeah, it's all right. You know, we all do.
I'm such an idiot, but yeah. So
I mean,
but you know, there's you can tell when you're doing something that something really special is happening, and you can, it's pretty cool when it's, because it's almost like you go into like, or at least for me, I almost kind of like go into like a dream state where I'm looking at stuff and it just kind of feels super surreal. Like I'm trying to remember it all because I know it's gonna be something I want to think about and remember later. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
It is so like amazing to me how many iconic things that you've worked on, that you are a part of, that are just like daily things that we talk about. Like Mrs. Doubtfire, that is just the movie, you know, like that, The Mask, The Passion of the Christ. Like the fact that you had your hands in those is just like, I mean, like I kind of don't even know what to say about it. I'm that amazed.
You know what? I am one of a team of people. It takes a small army to do all this stuff. I just got super lucky that I was at the right place at the right time, and I just motivated and just kept moving. So it's you know, I just got super lucky.
Yeah. So going back, I wanted to kind of go back a little bit, because when you were we were talking earlier about the different characters that you've been able to play, and so many of them you have to put on like the makeup and the everything and the effects. How does it feel when you get a chance to play a character like the Aggressor, where it's not so much about the makeup and the effects, but it's the outfit and like your actual presence? Was that a lot different from?
Yeah, it was super cool because it's really the only character of all the characters that I played on Charmed where you can kind of tell it's me. Because I'm unrecognizable otherwise in every other thing I've ever did, on Charmed at least. That one was super cool too, and it was funny because I didn't have to audition for it. They gave me the part, and I built the suit, and a week and a half later, I didn't build the suit. Actually, I had brought in these amazing people that helped build this, because I'm not a seamstress. And we built this. They built the suit under my direction, and we went on set, and that very first scene where the aggressor takes out the guys that are trying to rob the bank. That was the very first scene we shot. And I was standing on the set, and I was just looking around at all the different things. And the stunt guy had just talked to me about what the stunts were going to be, who I was going to throw where, what was a breakaway, what wasn't, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like taking it all in. And then the director comes up to me and he goes, hey, Todd, I have a question. I'm like, yeah, what's up? And he goes, and I'm in full costume, right? Lenses, everything. And he goes, what's your first line? And I said, I think this, I forget what the actual line was, but it's something like, what do you think you're doing? Or something like that. And I go, you know, I think it's, what do you think you're doing? And he goes, you're not going to say it like that, right? And dude, I go, I thought you just wanted to know what it was. Goes, and I go, hold on a second. I turned it around and I got a stance and I go, what do you think you're doing? Like this. And he goes,
you got it.
Okay. I go, okay, I guess that was my audition. But it's a little too late because we're shooting in 14 seconds. So here we go.
Exactly. Like, we're here now.
we're doing this. But yeah, the Aggressor was super fun. We had a stunt go wrong too on the it was horrible for me. I mean, there was a great stunt girl that was doubling, I believe it was Alyssa, if I'm correct, and her name was Dorinda, and she's really amazing stunt girl. And there's a scene where Alyssa goes to kick me, and I grab her foot and I throw her, and she goes flying against a wall.
Yeah.
And that was the stunt girl going against the wall. But they told me, when you have the girl's foot, and we're going to count 3, 2, 1. You're going to throw your arms this way, but do not even touch her feet, because we're going to yank her that way. And if you touch her feet, you're going to throw her off, and she's going to be screwed. And I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So 3, 2, 1. I really kept my hands off it, and went like this.
Yeah.
And she just went a different direction and crashed into something, and they had to take her away. And I'm like, oh God, did I do it wrong? I felt so bad. He's like, no. We had a complication. It wasn't you. And I watched the footage back, and I'm like, okay, no, I wasn't even touching her.
Yeah.
So I felt so bad because I thought I hurt her, and it was really sucked. But that character by far is my best memory of anything I played on there, just because it was super fun to be a badass Batman kind of guy.
Right. Did you have a stunt double, or was that all you?
No. There's no. That was the whole thing. Was I had to do all the stunts for any of the characters I played.
Oh, okay.
So I was the stunt. I was my stunt double.
Yeah.
Like when we did the Gremlins, they had me on wires, and they had me ratcheted up, because at one point I'm swinging in on a ball and chain, and they had me 20, 30 feet up or whatever it was with the green screen, and I was on a wire. And so, yeah, no, I had to do all my own stunts, and it was fine. There was nothing that was too hard. Mainly fighting and getting shoved and thrown and beaten up or blown up.
Right. Which that part.
Luckily, the blow-ups were digital, so it didn't really hurt too much.
Exactly. I did have one question. I saw that there's an episode called Once in a Blue Moon, and there's basically like these CGI werewolf things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how else to describe them. Did you have a part in that? No. Okay.
Zero.
That was what I was wondering.
They had a digital company that worked on the show that did a lot of the digital effects, and then every once in a while they would have them do a character that was a digital character, which is good because the show couldn't afford for me to make a full animatronic wolf puppet or anything like that. Yeah. We didn't have time. Our turnaround time was too fast. We literally had, from the time I got the script, I had 2 weeks to come up with what I had to do.
Right. That's because I saw your name with that one, and I was like, I just wanted to ask just to see.
There might have been something else. Unfortunately, and I have to admit this, I have a hard time remembering every episode, every name, and every character for that episode. Yeah. I don't know how many years it's been now.
It's been like 20 plus. Yeah. With that particular one, that was why I was trying to say, like, trying to describe them and kind of what they look like, so that way it will be a little bit more, because I wouldn't expect you to remember every single, No, that one was definitely not a makeup. Yeah. Because I could tell it was CGI or digital or whatnot. So I wasn't sure if it was something, but yeah, okay. I just wanted to ask because I saw the credit and I was like, I'm gonna make sure. I might have done something else in that episode, but it wasn't that. Yeah. And there was times too. I remember it was crazy. We came up with a demon color palette, and there would be times when I would have 30 to 50 extras lined up outside of my trailer. And I had like 5 to 7 minutes to put makeup on each one of them and make them look like a demon in the bar, or a demon in a crowd scene or whatever. They had to look demonic on some level. So I came up with this color palette of going in with a purple under here, going with a little bit of red eyeliner here, and then going in and cutting them in and doing a little bit of just this weird kind of coloring thing, and then a little bit of color on their teeth to break it up. And I could, in like 5 to 7 minutes, I could take somebody and put a scar on them or just do something to make them look, kind of piratey almost. Demon piratey, if you will. Just kind of grungy and more, all that kind of crap. But yeah, sometimes it was like, they'd be like, okay, we got a scene and we got 50 extras lined up. So you got 7 minutes each one, move them out, go. So we would just crank them. All right.
Yeah. And then And I'll give you one good story too, because so there's one episode, I don't even remember what it was, but there was an actor named Zach Ward who had a half lizard face thing. Okay.
Yep.
So Zach Ward was the bully, the redheaded bully in A Christmas Story.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He's played bullies in every movie. He gets killed every time you see him. He's that guy. He's a great actor. He's a great actor. I hadn't met him before. I walked in and he was on his phone, and I walked in and he looks at me and he kind of gives me a little look up and down, and he goes, "Hey man, I got to get going. My big flamboyant makeup artist is here." And I look at him and I go, "Really?" So he hangs up the phone and he had this big giant zit, like an infected zit on his face. And I look at him, I go, "So this makeup, which head would you like me to put it on?" Right. And I look at him and he looks at me like this and he leans forward. He goes, "You know what, dude? We're either going to go at each other's throats or we're going to end up being best friends." And literally by the end of the night, we've been buddies ever since. But it came close, man. It came close. He's just a real, he's just a real sarcastic guy, and he didn't expect me to come back at him. He was shocked that I came back at him like I did, and he was just like, "Are you threatening me or are you joking with me? Because either you're super funny or a total jerk." I'm like, "You started it, buddy." But we just became great friends, and he's actually in my last movie and the movie before that. So I put him in two of my three movies. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow. He's a great bad guy. He's the best bad guy in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But I met him on Charmed. And that was just an interesting situation.
Yeah. It was so funny because I remember when I was younger, I didn't realize that. And The Christmas Story is my favorite like Christmas movie. And when I finally realized that was him as an adult, I was like, how could I not have put those pieces together? He looks just like he did as a child.
I tell you what, they did A Christmas Story 2 that came out recently. And he pulled me aside and he goes, "Hey, dude, I need you to make me a pair of braces because they're going to do a flashback, but it's going to be me now, current day, looking like I did back then. So I need the braces." And I hadn't heard, we'd made braces before, cosmetic braces for movies, but he wanted me to do it personally. And I'm like, "I haven't done that before, so let me go figure it out and I'll make them for you." So I made them for him. And I saw the movie and I took a picture of it. He literally looks exactly the same. Like, it doesn't even look like he's aged. He literally looks like the exact same picture. It almost looks like it's from the movie, from the original. But he's all smiling and doing that Scott Farkas thing.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny.
Look, that's probably one of the best friendship stories I think I've heard so far.
So weird. So I wasn't sure where that was going to go. I was like, man, this is going to be a long day.
And it ended up turning into a long friendship.
Years. I've known him now for 20 years. Yeah. Wow. We're good friends. Yeah. He's worked on my projects. I've worked on his.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. Super talented dude.
Yeah. Because and I love the fact that you've been able to meet people and make connections that are long lasting like that. Because that's got to be like one of the best perks of what you do.
I've actually stayed pretty good friends with the majority of the actors that I've cast in my films when I direct. I tend to get a bond with my actors. And sometimes when I'm doing makeup effects on an actor, especially if it's somebody that I've done, multiple times, I mean, you're right in their face. You're touching them. I mean, you're as close as you can get to these people. And at the end of the day, too, depending on how you react with them, I did have one actor that was in full makeup for a big movie. We were over in Paris shooting on the streets, and people recognized him and started like coming after him, and like almost like, and I jumped in, and I had a black shirt and glasses on. I looked totally like security. I jumped in and I stopped everybody. I'm like, hey, like this. And I looked back and I gave him the sign and he ran off, and I stopped everybody long enough and then ran over, grabbed my makeup kit and just tiptoed away. And I hear him going, "That's not a cop, he's the makeup artist. Get him." And I'm like, ah. So
everybody's like, "Get him."
And that night, that actor took me out to dinner. He's like, "Yeah, I owe you one, dude." So I'm like, so you do tend to bond as a makeup effects guy with your actors sometimes when you're with them a lot. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've been pretty lucky that I've had some good relationships out of my different jobs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because I did also see where you had worked on Wizards of Waverly Place as the werewolf. As or is that right?
Yeah, so I did a lot of the Disney Channel shows. I did all of the episodes of That's So Raven, and then moved on to Sweet Life, and then moved on to Wizards, and then moved on to Hannah Montana, and just did all these shows. But for Wizards of Waverly Place, um, they wanted us to create the makeup for Greg, the actor that was playing the boyfriend to Selena, and make him look like a cute werewolf that was adorable and cute.
Yeah.
But there was going to be episodes where he was going to get upset and pissed off, and then all of a sudden he was going to morph into this other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, guys, guess what? It's going to be your old pal here, Greg, because you don't have the money. I played the werewolf when he's big and scary, and then Greg played it. And Greg is recognizable in the makeup. You can't tell. I'm full head and lenses gone.
Yeah.
But it was funny because one of the times on that show, they told me there was going to be a fight scene. And for Disney, for Disney Channel, usually a fight scene is like, ow, quit it,
Mm-hmm.
But then I saw this stunt team come running onto the set that I had worked with before, and these guys were badass. And I'm like, oh no, I'm going to get killed. I'm going to get my butt kicked. And they did, man. They beat the crap out of me for sure. Had me jumping from like 25 feet up onto a mat this big, and I'm like, can I have a bigger mat? They're like, it's good, you're good.
Just make sure you land right there.
Yeah, they did me pretty good. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Disney Channel let me play a lot of characters. I played a bunch of characters on different shows and puppeteered a bunch of stuff. So yeah, it was fun.
My God, you just have been, I'm telling you, like every time you say something, it's like, I'm like, you are just a piece of everyone's like childhood, or a piece of someone's favorite something, just a piece of someone's favorite something that's had like this huge impact.
It's funny when I reach out to people. I'll give you an example. When I did my last movie, Rock Bottom, I needed to find a voice that fit, because Jake Bon Jovi wasn't a singer. He had to sing in the movie, so I had to find a voice to be the voice. And I went online and I found this guy, this really famous influencer who was perfect. And I reached out to him and I said, hey, dude, I would love to talk to you. I'm doing this movie. Feel free to check me out online so I'm worth your time. And I never expected him to get back to me. And he got back to me within an hour. And he goes, dude, you worked on Jingle All the Way. And I go, yeah, I did. And he goes, I love that movie. I'm like, great.
Right.
I need your help. So any movie that anyone sees that I worked on that they love, I'm like, fantastic. It was the best movie.
You're right. I mean, Jingle All the Way, like, my God, that's a classic. And it's like, I can imagine that in certain professions, you kind of like are the unsung hero behind the scenes, and people may not necessarily recognize your name right off the bat. And then you say, I worked here, and it's like, oh my God,
Yeah, for Jingle, my team and I made the Booster Tiger character, the big pink tiger.
Yeah.
And we also made the bad guy's costume and the brain costume that Sinbad wore and all that. Yeah, it's I was super lucky because the company I was working for was just going from movie to movie to movie to movie, and we never stopped. And every movie was getting bigger and bigger, and we were winning Academy Awards. And we did Bram Stoker's Dracula, and that won the Academy Award for Best Makeup. And then we did Mrs. Doubtfire and Titanic. We did the old age makeup for Titanic, and that one. So I mean, I was on a with a group of people that we were consistently doing big, really cool movies. So I was just lucky to just keep working and working. But yeah, it was super cool, man. I'm still continue, fortunately, continue to work in a somewhat different environment in the industry, because it's very different now, because nothing shoots really in Los Angeles that much anymore, and
Right.
it's a very different industry as far as the way movies and television are shot now. So
yeah.
But yeah, I'm still plugging along. In fact, I just played a creature for a new movie. Actually, I played it 2 weeks ago, and I have to play it again on January 7th. Playing a monster for a movie and doing some stunts also. I can't really talk about it because it's but and also we have a new Netflix series coming out that we just did a bunch of stuff for. So we're keeping pretty busy.
Booked and busy.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing. And I'm gonna say this, and we can go ahead and we can kind of wrap it up. But it is so amazing that you've been able to like expand into this whole new audience now. Because the Charmed fandom, I'll tell you one thing: the Charmed fandom, when we find somebody, we're like, we love you. So that's why I told you, like, people were sending me the videos, they were sending me stuff, and that's why I really wanted to take a moment and just, do this in celebration of you and just let you kind of like give you space to talk about it. Not just your experience on Charmed, but I mean just everything that you've done, because I mean you literally have created a part of a show that we still talk about 20 years later, 30 years later almost. So
I gotta tell you, that's one of the coolest things, to be lucky enough to be a part of something that people connected to. It's super cool. Charmed fans are awesome. I didn't realize, to be honest with you, that the Charmed fans there were so many.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know. And I recently was doing autograph signings at a monster convention, and Holly and Rose were there.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen Rose since the last time we shot an episode of Charmed. Yeah. And I was walking past, and she saw me from the corner of her eye, and she stopped who she was talking to, and she came running out and she hugged me. And she was just like so sweet and so happy to see me, and it was just really, really nice. And Charmed is by far, I would say, especially as far as television stuff goes, by far my fondest experience, and with the best people, and they gave me so many opportunities and chances, and the audience that loves it now, it's awesome. And I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and it's super cool, and I'm happy. I feel honored to be a part of it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. Like the fact that you feel the love, you feel the warmth that you're being shown. Like I love every single part of it.
Super cool. Super cool.
I cannot wait to share this with everybody so they can go ahead and click. And where can we find you on social media?
Okay, so I'm going to give you my shameless list of things. Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So first of all, my last movie, which is called Rock Bottom, one word. It's a feel-good comedy about an 80s hair band getting back together. It's a complete feel-good. If you like 80s rock, 80s hair bands, it's great. Has Jake Bon Jovi, Tom Everett Scott from That Thing You Do, Tila Dunn. I don't know if you know Tila from TikTok. She was also an actress, but she's one of my leads. She was amazing. McKaylee Miller, she's in it. But it's a really fun movie. It's on Prime Video. It's on YouTube. It's on all main streaming platforms. And we also did an all original 80s rock soundtrack for the movie, which is Rock Bottom, the original soundtrack, which is on Spotify and all those areas too. Yeah. Super cool music with rock stars from the 80s that joined me and totally helped me out. So there's that one. There's also a horror movie that I wrote and directed in probably about 8 years ago, called The Terror of Hallows Eve. Okay. And I have original music in the movie from John Carpenter. If you know who John Carpenter is, Halloween and all those movies. Doug Jones, who is a suit performer, probably the most famous. He was Ape Sapien. He was Shape of Water. I mean, he's the guy. Yeah. He played my creatures in it. That one did really, really well. It got worldwide distribution. It's on Roku, YouTube, all that stuff. And you can go on my Todd Tucker official Instagram. I also have Todd Tucker Movie Magic YouTube and Todd Tucker Movie Magic TikTok.
Okay, awesome.
A lot.
And I'm no, listen, I'm gonna make sure to put all of it up on the screen because we want to show you as much love as we possibly can.
And I will be making more Charmed TikToks and putting them out there and just telling some of the silly stories like I told you about Zach and some other wacky stuff that went down too. So I'll keep them coming because there's 4 years worth of stuff there.
Exactly. So you got a lot of stuff to share, and I promise you a lot of people are going to love it, and they're going to be reposting, liking, and everything.
That's great. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I will go ahead and we're going to wrap this on up. Thank you so much for coming on and for sharing your career and just sharing everything.
You guys, it was my pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, you have a good one.
All right. Take care.
All right. Let me